Hello, this is the ASMRMedic. This is the second part on amino acids and the ways in which we can memorise their structure and properties. I'm just going to get straight into it. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so we last left off having covered the simple aliphatic, non-polar hydrophobic amino acids, 6 of them. We then did the 2 sulfur-containing and the 3 aromatic amino acids, which leaves 9 left. Sorry. So let's draw a line under those, and we'll go on to the aliphatic hydroxyl amino acids. Still relatively simple, these ones. After these, it does get a little bit more complicated, just in terms of remembering them. I've always felt. So these ones, as you can imagine, they're aliphatic, but they have a hydroxyl, so they do become polar to some degree. And we'll start off. How many of them are there? There are 2. There are 2 aliphatic hydroxyl, and these include serine, which is shorthanded to S, and we'll just plop in the second one as well, threonine. Serine, draw its standard backbone again, plus the amino and carboxyl groups, and our group is the methyl group plus as the name suggests, a hydroxyl group. And so a really good way to remember this, and that's what it says here, that's what I thought when I saw it as well, is a hydroxyl alanine. If you've forgotten since the first part, alanine looks like this. And so in terms of serine, we can just imagine a hydroxyl group attached, and that obviously becomes 2. Very simple. We can move straight on to the next one. Threonine. Now, looking at this, it's slightly different to that. Not massively, though, to be honest. It's just the position of things in an extra carbon. So, again, the backbone for every amino acid. Plus, instead of the single carbon, we'll draw 2 carbons for threonine rather than a single for serine. 2 coming away from the alpha carbon. This one is a CH3, and the one in the middle is the one that has the hydroxyl group, and then just another H. I guess you could draw it like this. You could try like that, can you? Which would be like valine, except with an hydroxyl group. That's one way to remember it. The way that they have described it, obviously, remember that this is the, and they've written that here, this is the T amino acid without a Y, meaning it is non-aromatic, like the other T's, threonine and tyrosine. So it's aliphatic. Its symbol is the first letter of its name, threonine and T. Like all the other aliphatics. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so all the aliphatic amino acids have their shorthand letter as the first letter. So leucine L, isoleucine I, proline P, just like serine S and threonine T. So given that aliphatics are the most structurally simple to draw out and to, I guess, to understand the properties of, they have shorthand as their symbol, as their symbol is the first letter of their name. 3O, it's 3O parts are, okay, so 3O suggests there are 3 parts to it, which is the methyl group, hydroxyl, and the hydrogen on the single C. So if we go in, so 3O equals 3 parts equal the carbon, hydrogen, the hydroxyl, and the methyl group. 1, 2, 3. 3O. Simple, very simple. Okay. There's the hydroxyl aliphatics done. That was very simple, weren't they? Those should be quite easy to remember, I think. Okay. Now we move on to the, I guess, the charged amino acids, starting with the acidic negative charged amino acids. So acidic negative charged. How many are there? There are 2, of which there are 2, and we will write both of them down. So aspartate, which is D. These are just things you're going to have to remember unless we can think of a way of remembering it. And glutamate, which is E. Okay, so what fancy ways have we got for remembering these? Let's try out the structure of aspartate, shall we? C, H, carboxyl, amino. Aspartate. Why is it negative charged? Negative charge will, as expected, come from an additional carboxyl group. So they're both got, as you can imagine, a carboxyl group attached to them. Aspartate is the most simple looking. Aspartate and glutamate are very similar in composition. Aspartate, a single methyl group, and then you have your, and I'm just going to draw a little circle around that to identify it, and then you have your carboxyl group. So really simple. It's underlined 8 for both of them, so I'm going to do the same. 8, because that is the suffix given to, so suffix 8 equals acidic 8 equals acidic. Okay. This is a carboxyl alanine, yeah. And by now I'm sure you can see the same thing, it's just an alanine with a carboxyl group attached. Very simple. So aspartate, glutamate, both very simple. So it says carboxyl alanine with an acidic nature, noted by suffix 8. The alphabetical ordering of the first letter of their names correlates with the increase in length of chain. Okay, that's really simple to remember. So aspartate D and glutamate E. If we can remember those, and I suppose these are just something you're going to have to remember. If we think about it like, if aspartate is D and glutamate is E, we know that aspartate is the one with only one carbon between the alpha and the carboxyl group, and glutamate is 2. Actually, let me draw out, otherwise you probably don't know what I'm talking about. So glutamate is like this. The only difference is an extra methyl group. See what I mean? Oops, So it's just an added CH2. And we know that it's this way around, where glutamate's the longer chain, aspartate's the shorter chain, because aspartate is D, glutamate is E, and alphabetically, aspartate is earlier alphabetically, so it has a shorter chain. So we'll write that in. D equals shorter chain. Let's write alphabetically. E equals longer chain. Okay, I think that's probably good enough. It's good enough for me anyway. And this is, yeah, literally just aspartate plus 1 methylene. Yep. It says G is after A, which I'm guessing is referring to alanine. Is it? I don't really know. Anyway, the next group is the basic positive charges. Forgot to give these a highlight. Really cracking through these, aren't we? Okay. Right. And there are also 2 of these. No, there aren't. There's 3. Sorry. So for the basics, we have 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And they are arginine, which is arginine, 2 lysine, which is K. Let's give myself a bit of space for these. And histidine, which is H. Alright. Yep, arginine. Let's just highlight them now. Lysine, histidine. Okay, so these are all basic positive. Well, these are some complicated looking structures. As we can imagine, because they're basic and positively charged, that property is coming from amino groups. So that's easy to remember. Draw in our things, and then arginine. This is quite a large R chain, R group even. So we have, it starts with a 3-carbon methyl chain. So it's 1, 2, 3 in a row, in a chain, and that's why I'm doing it like this, just simple structure. And from this comes NH, which then goes into another carbon. We're going to have to move these down. Which then attaches to a central carbon, which in turn attaches to 2 NH2 groups, one of which is charged due to the double bond. Let's clean that up a little bit, that doesn't look too good, does it? So N is attached to a central carbon, which is attached to 2 NH2 groups. Come on, you can do better than that. One of which is charged due to a double bond with the carbon. So, not too difficult of a formula, but it's something that I would definitely forget. So, what can we do to remember this? 3-carbon chain linked to a C full of only nitrogens, Right, let's see. It says so no hydrogens, and carbon has 4 bonds through an N. Right, okay, it's a very complicated way of saying it. So we're just going to have to remember that arginine has a CH2 3, so 3 carbon chain to begin with. That is then attached to it a nitrogen, which attaches the whole thing to a central carbon around which it is only bonded to other nitrogens. So it's like this. And these are attached to whatever. Like that. Plus the CH2 3. That's the general structure of this thing. Obviously, remember the R of arginine, like R, like R, you know, like pirates or whatever. Move that down here. Lysine. Okay. We'll move on. It's gonna have to go over. That's just something you have to go over. I'm trying to think of a way of remembering that. Lysine, arginine are just long chains, so maybe just remember that. How to remember that arginine is one of the basic positive ones. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure. I don't know. So lysine. Let's try the standard backbone. And now this is again no, it's not that similar to arginine. Arginine has 3 nitrogens in it. Lysine only has 1, but it still has the same number of charges. They all have single positive charges. In this form, that is, I think this is at like a physiological level. So we have another carbon chain, but this time it's longer. It's a 4 carbon methyl chain, which is then attached to a single NH3. We actually need to put a circle around that as well. So this is much simpler to arginine, really, because there's no triple nitrogens going on. There's one nitrogen. One nitrogen in arginine. Longer chain of carbons to arginine 2 with 4. There are actually the same number of carbons in the R group, both have 4, but it's all in a single chain for lysine, plus the NH3 group, which is the one that gives NH3 gives the positive rather than NH2. NH2 that gives the positive in arginine with a double bond, that is. Here it says 3 carbon chain plus 1 methylene to the amino. It lies about the lysine. That's such a hard way to remember that. I'm just reading off the document and it says, this is the way it says, I'm reading this verbatim, 3 carbon chain plus 1 methylene to the amino group. It lies, as in, you know, it's lying about something, like lysine is lying about the 3 carbon trend. I have no idea how that would be helpful to remember it. I get what it's saying. It's saying that it's similar to arginine, which has a 3 carbon chain attached to a nitrogen group, but it has another one, and therefore is lying about having the 3 carbons similar to arginine. I think that's really difficult to remember. I'm not sure. Although now I'm saying that because I've said it's hard to remember and it's quite a stupid way of looking at it, I probably will use that. I'm going to write it down. I am. So, lysine lies about its 3-carbon chain trend, much like arginine has instead actually has 4-carbon chain or 3 carbon plus 1 methylene. Funnily enough, that's definitely going to be the way I remember it now, just for how absurd it is. Alright, so histidine. H as its thing, as its a single letter symbol. Okay. Carboxylic group. Sorry, I had to cut that. Someone just started literally screaming outside. Okay, so histidine, that's obviously the basic structure. And it's attached to, like, oh no, so there's no chain on this one, no big chain anyway, so a single methyl group, which is then attached to a double nitrogen 3-carbon ring, so a 5-carbon ring, which we'll draw out. Try and make it look as neat as possible. Is that looking okay? Yep. That'll do. And let's just rub out the bits that we need to. So and that one. And this is where the nitrogens go. So they're both NH. Okay, and so going clockwise around this ring, it goes carbon, nitrogen, carbon, nitrogen, carbon, carbon. Oh, yeah, carbon, nitrogen, carbon, nitrogen, carbon. Oh, see, it's a very easy way to remember it. So let's actually write that down, shall we? That's quite a nice way of remembering it. Around histidine's ring clockwise goes carbon, nitrogen, carbon, nitrogen, carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4. If anyone actually wants these documents, just shoot me a message and I'll send them over. If you've gotten to this point anyway. Okay, but there are double bonds in there, which gives it the positive charge, so we know that the last second nitrogen has the positive, therefore must have a C double bond to it to give it that charge. So we know that comes on this side. Nope. Oh yeah, there's one there. Right, it's not letting me do it straight, so. And there. Right. I'm trying to think of a nice way of remembering that. What does it say here? It says 3 carbons, 2 nitrogen, and loop back through C and N. That's such a bad way of remembering it. I think I'm just going to remember that histidine is another one. I don't know. That's the way I'm going to remember it. That's the way I've got to remember it, I suppose. Anyway, that's the last one of the basic positive charge amino acids. And we're into the last 2 amino acids of the 20 that you need to know. And these are the amide derivatives of acids. So, amide derivatives of acidic amino acids. So that's where you lose the hydroxyl group for another amide group. So there are 2 of them. And their names are related to the acids that they are the amide derivatives of. So we know that the 2 acidic ones are glutamate and aspartate. Remember that from the 8-bit, aspartate, glutamate. And so the first one is asparagine and glutamine. So the first 2 that they are, sorry, not the first 2. The 2 amide derivatives are asparagine and glutamine. Asparagine, which is N, and glutamine. So that's the best way to remember it. It's literally just that, that's Q. It's literally, if you can remember the acidic ones, you can remember the amide derivatives of them, because you're just replacing the alcohol part, the OH part of the carboxylic group that gives them those acidic properties, with an NH2 group. These, or at least this isn't showing them to be at I guess a physiological pH to be ionized in any way. So asparagine is aspartic acid. Now let me just try. I'm not gonna look at the thing. I'm gonna try and remember what aspartic acid looks like, and I can't remember. Yes. Okay. So remember that I've had a look now. That I've cheated, but asparagine is D-glutamine. Sorry, sorry for my stomach there. Aspartate is D, glutamate is E, which is, and because they're both acidic, we know they must have a carboxylic group, and the D and the E of those is what tells us is the longer and shorter chain of methyl groups before that connects the main part of the amino acid to the carboxylic group. So we'll draw in the standard part. And then that must mean that for asparagine you have that group, and it comes into this. Because you've replaced the OH of COOH with H2. So yeah, we'll just say amide derivative of aspartate. Oh, it's actually just, what's it called? Aspartic acid, isn't it? Which is D. Shorter chain. Alphabetically. And then glutamine. We'll just, first of all, we'll draw out this. We'll draw out the basically draw out glutamic acid. Boom, 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 and then we'll just rub out that and replace it with the amide group to give the amide derivative of glutamic glutamate slash glutamic acid, which is E equaling longer chain. Right, that's it actually. That's all of them done. We'll highlight these. We'll just go over them again one last time. So, from the top, the aliphatic non-polar hydrophobic ones are glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, and proline, followed by the sulfur. There are only two of. Let's write that in. Methionine and cysteine. The three aromatics, which are phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. The aliphatic hydroxyl groups. There are two of them, serine and threonine. These are really important, I think, in genetics and what do they call it? Epigenetics. Serine and threonine, and tyrosine, I think as well. These are the two acidic negative charged ones, which are aspartate or aspartic acid and glutamate or glutamic acid. The basic positive charged ones, there are three of them: arginine, lysine, histidine, all kind of strangely shaped and quite difficult to remember. Amide derivatives are the amide derivatives of the acidic amino acids, which are aspartate and glutamate, so we call them asparagine and glutamine. Okay, I want to add a little bit at the end here, some extra information, maybe some important things to remember about amino acids, because now, like, maybe a kind of medical side of it, we have the essential amino acids, which are ones that we can't make ourselves, and so have to obtain them through the diet. So let's do that. Yeah, essential amino acids. Okay, of which there are 9. So 9 of the 20 we can't synthesize ourselves, and so have to obtain them from food that we eat. These are histidine, which we know is a good way of doing it. Histidine, which we know is a positively charged one. Isoleucine, which we know is aliphatic, non-polar. Leucine, which is the same. Lysine, which is, yeah, again, positively charged. Methionine, sulfur containing start amino acid. Phenylalanine, which is aromatic alanine, alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, got 3 more. Threonine, which it's not aromatic because it hasn't got a Y in it, which means it's the other T. It's not aliphatic, it's not sulfur-containing, it's not acidic because it doesn't end in 8, which must mean it's a positively charged one. Let me just confirm that. I couldn't remember, I did that just by It's not positively charged. What is it? It's aliphatic hydroxyl. Of course, the aliphatic hydroxyl ones are the ones that. So it's T. We know that threonine is T, so we know it must be likely to be aliphatic because it has its symbol as the first letter of its name. And serine and threonine are very important in genetic and epigenetics, which we know both of them are hydroxyl aliphatic. Sorry about that. It shows you that I clearly am still learning days before my exam. Not particularly promising, is it? Anyway, aliphatic hydroxyl. Two more? One more? Yeah, two more. Trip to fan. That's a T with an A, Y in it, which means it's aromatic. And valine, which is positively charged. Just checking. No, it's not. Valine is not. What is it? What's valine? Oh, of course. V. Oh, that's so stupid. God. Oh, come on, you knew that. Aliphatic. Non-polar. Come on, we should know the simple ones. Right. Okay. So what else is there? La, la, la. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that's particularly important to add in. To be honest, I think for now that's probably enough. It's almost a 40-minute video already, so that is the second part of the amino acids. I think that's all I'm going to do for now. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you found this useful or interesting, or a combination of the two, hopefully. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything else that you want to know. Obviously this is a break in between the renal physiology ones that I'm putting up, because I've actually finished going over that myself, so I'm not gonna re-go over it on a video, because they do take quite a long time to do, given that my exams are just around the corner. I'll do that in a week or so, go on to the third and fourth part. I also just wanted to add, to anyone that is still watching, thank you very much, because I actually relatively recently reached 100 subscribers. I'm a little bit over it now. Just to most people, I expect that's not a particularly big or particularly important thing to start shouting about, but it's quite big for me. It's a nice milestone to reach. 100 seems like the first kind of big-ish number. You know, you've reached 3 figures. So people that have watched my videos and liked them enough to subscribe, thank you very much. I hope that you're still enjoying my videos. You know, yeah, that's it really. Just thank you very much. The next video will quite likely be in 4 or 5 days after my exams, and will either be the third part of the renal physiology lectures I'm going over, or be just something completely different, maybe something quite simple, given that my exams have just finished. I might leave the renal third part for a week or so actually. But yeah, thanks for watching.